precinct.
Thank you. Are you familiar with this? Boom, 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 boom. Are we still in business? Are you familiar with the Sperry rail car from Sperry Products, Danbury, Connecticut?
No, I'm not.
I'm surprised because the Sperry rail car has been around since Elmer Sperry was the first man to work on that. He invented how the rail car was supposed to work. And they have a fleet probably of 75 to 100 rail detector cars. The purpose of the car is to find defects in the rail so you can prevent wrecks.
Right, right.
My guess is that, and they are changing their fleet around, and they're discarding some of the old cars, coming into the new, and maybe some of those old cars are available. If they are available, then I would think that would help you very much if you could get a hold of one. Because the Southern Railroad has been testing railroad rails with those cars for going on 50, 60 years.
Okay. Okay.
I'm an ex-employee of Sperry Products, and that's why I know quite a bit about it.
Okay. Could we talk a minute after the meeting, and maybe I could get you to write down how we can contact them. Yeah. Okay. Other questions?
I was going to try to fix that back feed, but I would have had to reach in Tracy's pocket. I don't think he would have liked it.
Yeah, over here.
Larry.
And by the way, there are brochures at your place setting, which will give you a little overview too of the museum and directions and so forth. Yes.
I have a question for you. In the early '70s, Southern tore down the depot here in Asheville. Do you have any information as to why they happened to do that?
Well, unfortunately that's happened in a lot of communities where depots and many times very attractive depots were torn down. I think I've seen a photo of that. Kind of had a round top to it, very unique kind of station. I wish I could have seen that. That's the bad news. The good news is that passenger rail is making a comeback at this point. We have, in North Carolina, we've renovated a lot of beautiful old train stations that are very significant, including ones at Salisbury, Greensboro, Wilson, Rocky Mount, Hamlet, Selma. So I think we've done a good job of trying to upgrade and renovate some of the significant older stations that have survived. Also, we have a trend now in our large urban areas of building what are called urban transportation centers. And Charlotte and Raleigh, for example, are planning to build new urban transportation centers that will accommodate Amtrak as well as Greyhound Trailways, local buses, and any kind of light rail or commuter rail that a community may have. So that's really the good news. I think the big priority right now is trying to get high-speed rail going in this country. We have no high-speed rail right now, but $8 billion has been earmarked from stimulus money for high-speed rail. And our North Carolina DOT, along with Virginia DOT, has been working for many, many years on a high-speed plan from Charlotte to Greensboro, Raleigh, Richmond, Washington. And we hope very much that, that some of that money will be allocated to them. Also, NCDOT has come up with an excellent plan to add passenger service to Asheville. As you may know, Asheville is the most asked about route from Amtrak for a city that doesn't presently have Amtrak service. And that's one we feel like our bringing 900 passengers up here on an excursion train last Sunday certainly would help that effort. But that's going to take some years before the money could be available for that. But there is a very good plan, and in that plan includes building new rail stations in Asheville and in Valdez, and in all the other communities that would be served between here and Salisbury. There are already stations that have survived. So that's sort of in a nutshell. Let me say just a quick word about what the railroad has meant to Asheville. I just finished reading a wonderful history. You know, 2 histories of Asheville were published in 2007. And maybe y'all have seen those books. I recently read one called Asheville, A History, which is really outstanding. And Asheville was really a small village until 1880, when the railroad finally was completed from Salisbury up here. And that Western North Carolina Railroad, the construction on that started in the 1850s, before the Civil War, got as far as Morganton before the war. And then you probably heard the story. It took a long time to go from Morganton to Asheville. And on last Sunday, it's just remarkable going up the loops there between Old Fort and Ridgecrest, where you curl around. And in so many places that we pass through, there are just huge boulders and rocks. They go up many, many yards on both sides of the track. And it's just remarkable that construction that took place in the 1870s, primarily, that brought the railroad to Asheville. And that was a tremendous breakthrough. In fact, when George Vanderbilt first came to Asheville with his mother, about 1886, that's the way he came. He came from New York down to Salisbury, and Salisbury up to Asheville on the train. He fell in love with this area, and he went on to build Biltmore Estates, and married a wonderful woman, Edith, and he died in 1916. Edith actually stayed in Asheville another decade, giving so much back to the community until she remarried and moved away. But it's really remarkable. In the 1880s, Asheville began to grow at a very fast rate, and that continued right up through the 20s. So the railroad is very, very important to Asheville's future and progress. But what I want to leave you with is this. At the North Carolina Transportation Museum, we're doing something that nobody else in the country is doing. We're trying to establish a strong, comprehensive transportation history museum for all of the state's transportation. Nobody else in the country has done it. And our next big step is raising the money to establish the back shop exhibit hall, and then the roundhouse will remain our railroad history. Bumper to bumper, our antique car collection will remain. And it's been great to be with you again. I hope you'll come see us at the museum in Spencer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Walter. I'm sorry we didn't leave enough time to ask about Renee. I guess we'll just have to pass on that. Anybody know who Renee is? He said Renee Zellweger was at the museum. Yeah, well, so is it. Never mind. I tell you, sex is gone out of this group. That's for sure. All right, I quit. We call this meeting to adjournment.